Hello everyone, and welcome to Medins Make Music. I'm Drew Medin, and today we are looking at the Chase Bliss Big Time. Now, the Big Time is one of the most deep and complex delay pedals that I've had the pleasure of looking at, and I'm comparing that even to the Empress Zoya. There are, I believe if I did my math right, 1,024 combinations just from the arcade button settings. So we don't have enough time to look through all of them in this video, meaning that we are going to be doing a series of videos kind of breaking down some of my favorite parts. In today's video, we're going to talk about subdivisions, we're going to talk about the modulation settings, and then we're going to talk about just some other kind of weird, crazy sounds that I've found so far in the short delay time, and a little bit about the preamp and compressor. I hope you enjoy. So this is a simple, clean delay set up right now. No modulation, nothing crazy going on. And I want to use it as an example for how to do some more traditional sounds on this thing before we get into the weird and wild. I'm going to start with subdivisions, delay subdivisions. So in order to access this, we're going to go into the options menu by clicking these two buttons once. That opens up the options menu. Then we are going to hold down the scale button, and it is going to open up subdivision options. So we can see that these are lit up differently. These would be half notes, quarter notes, and eighth notes, each with different options. The blue would indicate a straight note, a dotted note for red, and then purple, I believe, is triplet. So if I want to set up something like a dotted eighth delay, I would click the eighth note button until it's red, and then release and back out of the options menu. Now I'm in the long delay setting right now, and so I'm going to hit that button, and we've got a long dotted eighth delay. So it's pretty easy to set up different subdivisions. Hopefully that helps. It's a little different than what's printed in the manual that shipped out with the first batch of them. I don't know if they're going to change that for the future manuals at all. But thank you, Chase Bliss, for emailing out that information. That was really helpful, and I actually do like this version of subdivision change better than the initial one. All right, so now that we've figured out how to do the subdivisions, let's talk about the voicing options for the delay. Like I said before, this is a clean digital delay sound. And so we've got this button right here, which allows us to switch between all sorts of different types. We have, of course, the hi-fi delay. We have a focus delay, a warm, and an analog. So hi-fi just sounds like clean repeats. I've got a little bit of drive on in my preamp, but so fairly straightforward there. I'm actually going to turn my dry signal up just a touch. There we go on the wet dot. Now if I want to change the overall character of the delay, all I have to do is hit this button once, and it throws it into the next mode. Now the focus delay, we're not going to spend too much time on. I've found it to be pretty similar to the hi-fi unless you're going to get way into the EQ settings, which we're going to avoid for right now. But we have the warm delay. More pronounced, I think, if I use my bridge pickup. And then the analog. And again, let's compare that to the hi-fi. Turn that EQ few up here. So that's nice for if you're trying to get like perfect repetition or perfect repeats of your dry signal. But if you want it a little bit messed up, I like the analog quite a bit. Now it's important to note that that does not mean it's an actual analog delay. It is an analog voiced digital delay there. But it's very nice sounding. It's really great too if you don't want to, if you don't want your delay repeats to kind of get in the way of what you're playing, but rather add some nice ambience to the background. Now each of these also is going to change based on the preamp that we select. And the preamp, I've got digital right now, but then we've also got compressed, we have saturated, and then we have this one, which I'm not sure how to pronounce. It's just a bunch of symbols. But we're using the digital preamp right now. And I'm going to change it back to hi-fi so we can really get the character difference here. Each of these preamps is going to work differently with the color and texture functions, as well as kind of how the feedback acts with it, I guess. So and then depending on if this is higher or lower than the feedback, that's also going to change some of the sound. Now that's going to affect your dry signal and the repeats, by the way. If I switch over, so let's pop that down again. If I switch over to compressed, then that is going to actually activate a compressor within that preamp and change how the notes slam into the limiter, which is kind of cool. So you can hear it ducking away. And you can hear that compression getting less pronounced the softer that I play. Which is kind of sweet. As we mess with this here, we actually get into tremolo territory. I'm going to turn the delay up so you can really hear that. If we really crank stuff. So you can hear we get that, again, that tremolo sound. If I turn the feedback way down. And our camera guy is unfortunately missing out on a lot of these sounds because I'm hearing him over headphones, so sorry about that, Sean. You'll get to listen to him when we edit this video together. So you can hear it interacts differently than it did in the digital. Now, when we get into saturated, this is where you can start to actually really distort the delay signal. Turn the wet down to balance it out a little. If you balance them out. Whoops. So even as I roll my guitar's volume back, you can hear that the delay repeats are more distorted, which is kind of cool. And then we get into the cymbals mode. At least that's my conservative estimate of what that's supposed to be. And we can hear that these start to interact differently yet again. So we can hear that limiter is really engaging and kind of tremoloing this thing out or ducking it out. And it becomes this actual broken, fuzzed out sound almost. This is pretty cool as a delay effect, but could we maybe play this as its own dry effect, or I guess the effect on the dry signal? And the answer to that is yes. If we change from a delay setting up to the mod setting, oops, there we go. And then if we turn the dry signal down and the wet signal all the way up, we can actually hear that it has now become a broken fuzz pedal, which is pretty cool for a delay. I love a delay that can be a fuzz, because I really, really love fuzz quite a bit. So now we've broken into the weird side of the pedal. Now, as we change color and stuff, we can get the guitar to duck itself. And that's not even getting into all of the modulation that you can do. So there's some wild sounds in there that you probably are not going to get out of a lot of other delay pedals. I believe it's also an analog preamp, which is pretty crazy too. So there's some really sweet stuff that you can kind of misuse this pedal for. We haven't even gotten into the modulation yet, so let's take a look at the modulation. All right, so we're going to dive further into the modulation. I also just want to show how you can get this thing oscillating on its own and actually make some cool kind of spectery whale sounds. Literally just from turning the feedback knob up. Now you can interrupt this oscillation by just playing. But as soon as you stop, it comes back again. So you can do some pretty cool sound designy stuff there too. But I'm going to go back to digital. Whoops. There we go. Back to digital. And we're going to start looking at the actual modulation settings here. Okay. So I've got it set for envelope right now. Or actually, pardon me, sine wave right now. There we go. We're going to turn it actually back to sine wave. And we're going to start changing some of the mod stuff. All right. So in order to access the modulation settings, we're going to hit the shift button, hold it for a moment until we open up this alternate menu. And here you can see we have shift functionality. So we, instead of controlling the time, now control the rate. Instead of controlling the cluster, we now control the depth. That is the rate of modulation and depth of modulation. All right. The rate and the depth. So now we have vibrato. We can turn that into chorus, by the way, by reintroducing dry signal. So we can get like a nice lush vibrato, which is awesome. And again, that all changes depending on the preamp selection that we use and the voice that we use too. But we can make that pretty extreme too. Getting into ring modulator territory. We can also get into borderline useless swishes, which is fun, especially when combined with those whale noises. Oh, let's see if we can get it to oscillate. Oh, that's right. I have to be in this menu. literally make this sound like the ghosts of all of your ancestors screaming at you from the abyss if you want to, which is pretty cool too. I really like finding extreme sounds in different pedals, and this is one that allows for some pretty interesting extremes. So you can have a ton of fun with it. And man, you can... So we can start to use the scale now. I'm actually going to change the rate here. To modulate based on a chromatic scale series. There we go. So you can make like crazy sounds with this thing. get into envelope, this modulates based solely on the signal that you send it. So you'll hear as my signal weakens. That the modulation changes. It's like endless exploration that you can go through on the motion and scale side of things. There's so much stuff to do with it, and it behaves differently than it behaves when you're using it in the delay modes. This is, again, the modulation mode, which is just the shortest possible delay time. Then you have, of course, different range for short, different range for long, and then a much different range for loop. So here's another pretty crazy setting. Now this is the short delay time. I've got it set to eighth notes, so it's a really short eighth note delay. And then we are on the envelope setting for the motion, which means that the motion, the amount of motion is going to be set by how strong my playing is, like how heavy I'm hitting my strings. And then I've got it set to octaves and fourths and fifths. If we go into the secondary menu, you can see I've got the rate pretty high and the depth max. Now what that allows me to do, and this is just a wild sound, what that allows me to do is if I strike a note, so the harder I strike it or weaker I strike it, it changes the amount that the pitch raises. And so if I play very softly, there we go, and I'm going to turn that feedback all the way down. So we can hear that we can like kind of control half step, whole step, minor third, major third. And so if you get really dialed in, you can get a really goofy arpeggio going. And I'm just picking root fifth and octave, and I can actually make it distinguish between major and minor based on how strong I'm picking. And you can do weird little sequences. So you can actually, if you get good at playing it, you can almost play it as an additional instrument, which is pretty sweet. Well, thank you everyone for watching the video, and a huge shout out to Chase Bliss. Thank you so much for sending us this pedal. It's been a ton of fun to mess around with. There's so much stuff to explore, and I know that I'm going to be spending the next several weeks continuously exploring it and discovering even more crazy sounds from it. If you like this video and want to see more like it, please make sure to hit the subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. If you didn't like the video, leave 2 comments. It helps the algorithm. And make sure to hit the little bell icon so you can be notified when we release our next video. If you'd like to check out some other videos from our channel, you can look here or here.